So, okay, the Bill Belichick, Jordon Hudson story has taken an interesting turn. So I had two strong opinions on this story. I now have three. My first opinion was bit cringy. He's 70 plus, she's 24. Then I watched the CBS interview, which she stepped in front of and like a professional said, you're not talking about our private relationship. My second opinion was it's still age-wise a little creepy, but in college football, old Bill needs this. He just happens to be dating it too, but he needs this. Then another story came out, and skeletons are starting to be unearthed, and reporters are starting to report. There was a story in the New York Post yesterday that Jordon Hudson has amassed $8 million in real estate, multiple homes, starting at the time she started dating Bill. Who am I to pry? Another part of this story is looking back at her family who had a fishing business that went bankrupt. Her mother moved to Cape Cod and now, I'll only say this once, manages a sex toy shop and museum. Didn't know they existed. The museum part doesn't sound like the Smithsonian, but who am I to be snarky? The family's a little different. It does appear now I'll have a third opinion, which is they are both benefiting in multiple ways from each other. Whatevs. It's gone from cringy to crucial to crypto. I don't know what the hell I'm going to get tomorrow. That's why I don't invest in it. And here's the thing. She is providing a service. Take your mind out of the gutter. She is providing a service as his social media director, and she'd like to be compensated for it. That's, I think, where we are. But let's go back to the beginning and my skepticism when this happened. What was my first opinion, like the day it happened? Bill doesn't even watch much college football. I can tell from his drafts. He's terrible. Bill's an NFL guy. He's not spending Saturdays on the couch. Like his contacts, he'd call Urban Meyer or Nick Saban. What do you got for me? Herm Edwards. But I never thought of him as a college football guy. College football coaches, Nick Saban may seem grumpy. Nick Saban's funny. Nick Saban's social. Nick Saban's personal. I've been around Nick once or twice. He lights up a room. Nick is funny. He's a good storyteller. He can laugh at himself. That's not Bill. Bill's a pro football coach. And that's not a bad thing. But Bill never had this. Like Urban Meyer, to me, has always been a college football coach. Urban Meyer told me years ago. I love Urban. He's a friend. He told me years ago, I don't watch pro football on Sunday. I watch Ohio State game tape. Like Urban took the job, made his money. He was always a college football coach. The NFL thing didn't fit. Bill was always an NFL coach. Then he brings Mike Lombardi, who I know. He brought him over. Lombardi's an NFL guy. And I said this when it happened. I said, you think Bill Belichick had no patience for Robert Kraft? He had no patience for NFL owners. You think he's going to sit around and have an SID run the show, or an athletic director, or some goofy donor, or that this was always an uneven relationship. The minute UNC gave him $10 million a year to a guy who'd never coached college football. Yeah, his dad coached at Navy, but he never showed any great inclination for it. In fact, the only reason this thing makes sense is because of NIL, where Bill can now buy players and doesn't have to hop on a jet every 15 minutes and recruit guys. So I do think it potentially could work through NIL. But this was an uneven relationship. Carolina was desperate, and Bill's like, all right, I want $10 million, and oh, by the way, if I want to leave in a year, I can. No other college contract is paying a guy 10 large a year plus, and he can just leave whenever he wants to. It was always an uneven relationship. So Bill's going to do what he wants. And again, I do think Jordon Hudson, I mean, these stories, I don't know what to make of it. They're both benefiting. And, my wife does, she's like, I get a lot of, this is just inappropriate. Yeah, I get that crowd, but this, people get into relationships, whatever. I'm not here to judge. I do think she is providing something that he would not tolerate. Having some SID chase him around the field, telling him he's got to talk to this radio station and that, it's not going to work with Bill. That's just not his personality. And that was always my question. I'm like, Mike Lombardi and Belichick, these are NFL dudes. Remember when Charlie Weiss came to Notre Dame and everybody was like, he's an NFL guy, he's a little gruff. And my take was, Charlie tried. Charlie would go on shows. Charlie played the game. If Charlie Weiss was in the NIL era, maybe it works better. He could just buy players. I think this model now can work for NFL guys. But this stuff that's coming out now, okay, I'll say it one more time. I don't know what a sex shop / museum is. It doesn't sound like the Guggenheim. I don't know what it is. And here's the other thing. I don't want to know what it is. If I go to that town, I'm not stopping for red lights. I'm just driving straight through that town on Cape Cod. This thing's getting weird. It is Bitcoin. Nobody knows what's happening tomorrow. Don't listen to anybody. There could be 6 other stories cooking on this. Congrats to the journalists. Can you imagine the New York Post journalists? Guys, come here. You won't believe what I found. Hour 2 next.